Well, hello everyone. I'm so excited. Thank you for coming in onto my YouTube channel, but I'm most excited about our guest today. His name is Carlos Byrd, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about Carlos. He is a two-time cancer survivor, and that's why I was very interested in talking to him today. I spoke to him a little while ago and learning about his story really resonated with me. So I think it's going to resonate with you. He's also an author. He's learned that life's greatest challenges often hold the key to discovering our true strength and purpose. So he's going to talk about that purpose today, too. That overcoming cancer taught him to value the power of self expression and the importance of sharing his story. This realization led him to writing poetry. And his first poetry book was just published. I'm so excited. I did receive a copy of it. It is entitled Whispers Through the Heart. And that marked a turning point in his life. So I'd like to welcome Carlos. Thank you so much, Carlos Byrd, for agreeing to talk to me today. And I'd like you to share with all of us your story, in particular, your cancer story.
Thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate you sharing the book as well. And I am excited, to share my story because I found that it has helped so many people overcome the fear of being checked out, as well as I was. And sometimes you don't even know you even have cancer. That's why it's important to get regular checkups. And I know how, a lot of men's are, and I'm one of them that had that fear of just going to the doctor because we hated to hear bad news and things like that. But my wife, being a nurse, has taught me differently. So I welcome the fact of going to the doctor because I think that has helped me prolong life. So I'm excited to share some things with you, and glad that it can be shared with others. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, tell us a little bit about the type of cancers that you had and sort of the story of the journey that you had to take.
Well, the first time I had cancer was years ago, back in '96, and didn't know what it was. I was going through some severe pains, and again, didn't want to go to the doctor. Okay, but the pain was so severe, I had no choice. And I wound up going to the hospital. And they ran all sorts of tests on me, and they couldn't find what was going on. So the doctor told me that he was going to run his last test. And if he couldn't find anything, they were going to do exploratory surgery on me. And I welcomed it because I was hurting so bad. I was agreeing to anything. So this particular doctor, he was, and I didn't know this when I, going through my surgery, but I found out later that he were teaching other students. And by him teaching other folks, he was being thorough of what a doctor is trying to share with his students. And he felt a lump on my colon when he was going through the motions, and they decided to cut that lump out. And he did that work. They also took my hernia and something else. He just did what they thought could be the problem. So when I woke up and in recovery and they did the test, they found that it was malignant. I didn't know what that word meant at first, but they explained it to me. So he was suggesting another surgery 30 days later so that they could make sure that they got all of the cancer. I was reluctant at first, of course, but I followed through after 30 days, and they did the surgery, cut a little bit more of my colon, but they didn't find anything. So that was a relief, also upsetting at the same time, but I was relieved that there was no more signs of the cancer. And we moved on from there, and everything healed, moved on. And years later, now that was in '96, the year 2011, My wife, by me, being going to the doctor as she suggested on a regular basis, they discovered my blood levels were, I think, increasing your PSA levels. So they suggested again that I get tested for prostate cancer. Found out that there was some prostate there, and I had to make a decision on what type of treatment and that was between surgery, radiation, those radiation beads. There were several different ones, and I tell you, the choice can be detrimental to a person because my wife insisted the surgery because she wanted it removed, period, not to be inside at all. So I chose that route, and it was supposed to be a 2 or 3 day stay. I won't go into details of what happened with me as far as it was longer, but the results was that they got all the cancer. And that was the main thing that, helped me realize how important it is to be checked out and to move quickly once you find out, because you don't want it to linger and get worse.
Right.
And so far, everything has been great, and it's been uh, what 13 years now.
Wow.
Now
That's
I'm
great.
still dealing with a little bit, but the point is I consistently go to the doctor to make sure those things are dealt with on a timely basis.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it has helped me realize how important it is, like I said. And I did a speech, a group of men, if you don't mind me reading that.
Oh, sure. Go right ahead.
Okay, and I think that this speech helped a lot of the guys that I spoke with, and in terms, they moved a little bit quicker in their resistance at first, and the results came out positive, and so that was a good thing. So I'm gonna just read it word for word how I wrote it.
Okay.
So I stand before you today as a man who has stared down the barrel of mortality, not once, but twice. My story is not just a narrative of survival, it is the testament of the resilience of the human spirit and the imperative of proactive healthcare. I faced the shadow of cancer, relentless adversary that shows no favoritism. It was during a quiet solitude of a hospital room in the aftermath of prostate surgery that I found my life at a standstill. But it was also there that I discovered a renewed sense of purpose. I believe that my extended time there is not by chance, but by divine intervention, a second lease on life that I am compelled to honor by urging others to take action. Men often bear the mantle of strength, sometimes to our detriment, dismissing the vulnerability that comes with visiting a doctor. There's a misguided bravery in enduring silently and ignoring the signs our bodies give us. But let me be clear. Valor lies not in silence, but in the courage to seek help, to be vigilant stewards of our health. My journey through the affliction of cancer has taught me that early detection can be the sliver of daylight between life and premature dusk. It is not just about surviving, it's about thriving, about the precious everyday moments that become a tapestry of a life well lived. I implore, as brothers, husbands, fathers, and friends, to not let apprehension dictate your actions. The simple yet profound act of getting checked can mean the difference between catching a problem early or too late. I am blessed to say that through my wife's encouragement, I took that step. It's a decision that has allowed me to stand here with you today. And as we navigate the flows of life, let us remember that our health is the bedrock upon which we build our dreams, our families, and our legacies. Ignoring it can destroy the very foundation that we hold dear. So I ask to join me in this crusade against complacency. Share my story, spread the word, and let us shift the paradigm of men's health. Together, we can rise above the whispers of fear and uncertainty and stride towards a horizon of wellness and longevity. Thank you for allowing me to share
Mhm.
my heart with you. And I appreciate you allowing me to read that speech that
Oh,
with other men.
that's wonderful. That is wonderful. It's there's a lot of wisdom in that speech. I think that it's important. We have these screenings. We
Mm,
have, getting your PSA checked, getting your mammogram, getting your colonoscopies. We have these screenings. So why not use them? That's why they're there. They're trying to either, early detection we know is
right.
key to surviving longer, living a full life. So your message is very strong. And I feel that a lot of times, like you said, men are supposed to be this pillar of strength.
Hmm.
And they feel that they don't need to go to the doctor because maybe they feel that they are invincible. And unfortunately, no offense, you know, but the thing is that by going to the doctor and getting that yearly physical,
Yes,
that is so vital,
yes.
and what you shared is so important. It's so easy, right? It's
Mhm.
how much time does it
Right.
take? You make that appointment, you get
Hmm.
to the doctor, and it could save your life, right? It saved
Exactly.
yours. It saved your
Exactly.
life. I
That's
mean,
how I
and
feel. Exactly.
it's mhm. And it's amazing. I'm wondering, Carlos, when you were going through this, and again, you're two-time, twice. I'm fortunate or not fortunate, to have one time going through breast cancer, but going through two different cancers. Was there any ever a time that you were angry? Were you angry when you received these diagnoses at any time?
I think this may sound funny, but the way they do the prospect check, I think I was angry then.
Okay.
Didn't like it, but
Right.
at the same time, I was glad of it because that was the process of me getting that help that was needed as far as, finding out that it was true prostate cancer. Because without that check, you would never know.
Right.
So you have to deal with some things in a way, but it's okay. Okay.
You're right. And my husband went for his physical last week. Okay.
Hmm.
And he did bring that up. That exam, see? And it's the same thing for women. Do we want to go get that mammogram? It's not,
Right,
it's not pleasant, right?
right.
But he brought that up. And I said, well, it needs to be done. It needs to
Yeah.
be done. And again, a simple check like that can then determine, okay, something's not right here and we need to do further
Hmm.
testing. So I can understand you being a little, angry at that point, and it's uncomfortable. So I
Right.
totally understand that.
Yes.
I see how you have turned, as you wrote in your bio to me, turning your pain into purpose. I loved that you wrote that. When I read that, I thought, wow, you turning your pain into purpose. And I feel that what you're doing is so important, spreading the word about getting checked. And I think that is an important message. Do you feel, I know that you give hope to people.
Mhm.
And, how do you feel that hope helped you during this journey?
How I feel that how hope.
Yes.
Um, well, you know, I think that listening and taking it to heart um has helped me through the journey. And I'm trying to wrap around about the hope part. Um, uh, I guess if you're asking me about my hope is that the message that is being shared through the poems and the way I expressed it to that speech, my hope is that people take it a little more serious and take the next steps like I did to to move towards getting checked out or getting, making sure that they don't have it, and it's best to check to see rather than finding out later and it's too late. I had a
Mhm.
friend of mine that had the same type of cancer. Now, I don't know how long he waited, but he had different, outcome because he chose I think it was the radiation part. I don't know if it was the beads, whatever it was, but I saw him go through a lot worse changes, and it, he passed away,
Mhm.
and I was so hurt by that. I didn't know he had cancer because I would have told him my story as far as suggesting it, like my wife did to me, and that could have made a difference in maybe his life too. Because, like I said, a lot of men may not want to go get checked out and may looking for the easier route because of
Mhm.
some of the side effects that may come along with it. And I would deal with the side effects versus not living at all because
Mhm.
the side effects you can work around.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
And, my hope is that more men will listen to the speech and get checked out.
Get checked out. Right.
Mhm.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, and that is such an important message here that we want to get out. Get
Mhm.
checked. Get checked. It could save your
Yes.
life, right? Get checked. And you mentioned something also about, with men, um, sometimes they don't want to share. I mean, you're sharing your story so you can help others, but
Hmm.
they don't want to share or they don't want to share about their health. I
Right.
find that and not just men, just in general, some people are
Hmm.
very private about their health. I mean, again, sometimes you're surprised when you find out somebody is sick or something
Right.
happened or they passed and you're like, I didn't even know they were ill. They
Right.
never said anything.
Hmm.
What do you think about, that and what could make it easier for men to be a little bit more open? What could you suggest about their health? How can they be more open to
Well,
make themselves feel more comfortable?
right. And I never thought about opening up either. And a lot of guys, I understand it's a private thing. It's about them. But for those that have like you said, a hope to help others, then we're obligated to tell that story about us. And I learned that with my wife told me how important it is to share. That's why when I wrote that speech, it made me feel good about sharing then. And especially when I heard that it did help some folks, open up and go to the doctor. They were still private about doing it, but they did it. And the stories that they shared afterwards made them open up. So I think that if when more people hear the story, they will start to open up and spread the word to
Right.
other people. And
Yeah.
that's what we need because
Right.
you can't do it all by yourself. We
Right.
need the help of other men to help
Exactly.
spread the word.
Right.
And I think it would help others to relax and open up and see that the health is more important than anything
Right.
because you want to spend as much time with your family and loved ones as you can,
Right.
and to be short-lived because of an act that you didn't, you know, take care of that could have been simple and
Right.
make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now,
Now, just really quick,
mhm,
just think, and I think about it sometime a lot. I think about what if I had been the one that didn't want to have that prostate test? That
right.
cancer could have spread it, and I may not be here today. We don't
That's
know
right.
how fast it would have spread it, but it's possible.
That's right. That is right.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that you got checked,
Yes.
and I'm glad that you're here today. Now, you have mentioned your beautiful wife
Yeah.
several times, and I've had the pleasure of meeting your wife only on Zoom because, again, I don't think Carlos mentioned he's in Georgia.
Yep.
I'm in Michigan, and you've mentioned her and how supportive she was and how she sort of was very concerned and was the person that was sort of a driving force
Hmm.
of getting you to get the surgery, get the prostate out, right? And I feel that going through cancer, we need these. we need support. We need the support of others. It makes such a difference in our recovery and moving forward. And I want to tell you, I'm always so touched, and I've only talked to you twice now, but on the weekend did hear you on another venue speaking. And I am very touched on how you speak of your wife and how she has helped you. What would you say to other people about the importance of spousal support and how it helped you get through your cancer?
Oh, that is, my wife, like you said, is very supportive. But what she did with me, she went to every doctor's meeting. That was support
Yes.
because I wasn't never alone. When the doctor read the report and the suggestions of what we could do, you know, me and my wife had a discussion. She never said, I want you to do this, this, or this. She, allowed me to ask the questions about it with the doctor. And she gave her suggestions, of course, because of what she felt as knowing as a nurse. And I chose what I felt was her strong suggestion because of her being a nurse and because of the facts that she laid out in front of me. And, I'm glad that I chose what I did, but it was with her help. If I didn't have her, I wouldn't have known what to choose because if you're all alone and you had four choices laid out in front of you, most men might take that easiest choice. Okay. Now, I didn't choose the easiest choice. I chose the choice that was most confident in taking care of that cancer situation. And because of my wife that had the knowledge and the suggestion that that would be the best choice, I listened. I listened to that, and that helped me decide on what to do. Now, I could have still chosen one of those other routes, but it might have made a big difference in where I am today.
Right.
So yeah, spousal support is I value that immensely with not just the health, but a lot of other things in other areas as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it is important. And I always say that support, whether coming from your spouse, family, friends, community, it does help and it does lift you up. And I think that helps with your mental state of mind.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And so speaking of, your mental state of mind, you wrote this book of poems.
Mhm.
And what was your inspiration to writing this book?
That's a good question. All throughout my marriage, I used to recite little poems all the time. When you're writing, giving birthday and anniversary card, I write a little poem message in there. I always like to make things rhyme. And I've been doing that for years. And I would always write Sheila something, a little poem and stuff. And she enjoyed it. And I never had the idea or the thought of being an author or writing anything, but a couple of times I did submit a poem through what is it, Eber and Wine, one of those publishers, but I still never thought about writing a book. And so when I was in the hospital, and of course you can't go anywhere, can't do anything, it came up that I don't know what made me come up with it, but I just wrote a poem about my stay in the hospital. I even put it in the book that you got, and it was the day my life stood still, and that's how I felt, and I
Mhm.
kind of wrote something about that. After I got out of the hospital in our business, they gave me an opportunity to go on stage, and I read that poem to everybody, and they gave me a standing ovation. That was just so heartfelt. I was, uh, it just, brought tears to my eyes because of that. And that people came up to me and asked me for that poem.
Mhm.
So the poem meant something to somebody to where they wanted a copy of it. And
Mhm.
that made me start to think that maybe I should, write a little something. My wife kept encouraging me, you should write a book, because I used to put the poems on Facebook, making things rhyme. And she said, you need to put those in the book. So from that first poem, I started compiling ever since. And that was
Mhm.
years ago, but it
Yeah.
just come to light now to
Yeah.
actually put all those poems in a book.
Yeah. And that is, I mean, I've read several of them and connected with just even, the titles. Of
Mhm.
course, I went to chapter 4
Mhm.
first, which is entitled Your Health no, chapter 4 is about your
Yeah.
health.
Yeah.
And I believe it was called Your Health Matters. Is
Yes.
that the name of the poem? So
Hmm.
I really connected with that, of course, being a cancer patient
Yes.
and going through everything. I really resonated with what you had to say. And also, I'm curious if there is any like special poems. Do you have the book with you there?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Is there something special like you would like to read, a special message from your
About the health,
compilation of poems, whichever
about
that
that.
you felt? Yeah, about the health. I think that would be
Hmm.
one.
I know
If
you probably read, you said The Healing Dawn. Is that the one you read?
Oh yeah, that chapter is Your Health Matters, and then no, it was The Power of Knowing. I
Oh yeah.
liked that one,
Yeah.
and also The Healing Dawn. Yes, The Healing Dawn.
Yep.
Yes, yeah,
I
um,
there's another one about Twice Survivor. That is about the health, I mean the cancer as well.
yeah. Well, would you like to read one that you uh have a special
Yeah, I can
connect?
read
I
that
mean,
one, the Twice Survivor, because
yeah,
that stands out to me as far as exactly
right.
what happened to me. So, Twice
Yeah,
Survivor.
yes,
I stand here today, a testament to grace, twice marked by cancer, yet never erased. First came the shadow deep in my core, colon cancer knocking, but I fought, I endured. Exploratory hands found what was wrong, a second surgery, swift and strong. Through the storm, I walked with steady breath, recovered, defied, stepped back from death. Years passed in peace till fate had more. Prostate cancer came knocking at my door. An easy surgery, they said with care, but a doctor's error led to despair. My bowels betrayed by a cold machine. 2 weeks became a hospital scene. Now pain lingers, a ghost at my side. Unseen battles with nowhere to hide. Each month, a war I silently wage, unyielding suffering, unending rage. Though compensation never came nor relief, my prayers hold fast in the heart of belief. Through it all, one light remains true, my wife, my rock, pulling me through. By my side, with love so pure, together we hope, together endure. I dream of days with pain will cease, when finally my soul will find its peace. Till then, I fight, I rise, I remain a twice survivor, unbroken by pain.
yeah, that's
I
great.
like that one because it tells the story, but it ends with a piece that you can overcome.
Right.
No matter what the pain, no matter what you go through, having it done, I still feel better having it done, no matter what I went through, than not having it at all.
Right. It's again a message of hope, a message
Yes,
of hope.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because you went through it, and I just thought that was beautiful, and all the um, all of the poems, like I said, it's such a progression, right? It's a progression throughout your life,
Mhm.
basically. I mean, you have, um, you talk anniversary. My beloved wife is one of the poems, and you have the resonance of love, and you have personal growth. And the friends chapter I liked, I resonated with the best friend one,
Right.
and I sent that to a girlfriend of mine. And your health matters, so it sort of chronicles your life. It seems like, is that
Yes,
right? It sort of
it did.
chronicles.
Exactly.
Hmm.
A lot of this book is parts of my life and people that I've dealt with within my life.
Right, right. Yeah. No, it's a great. book. I loved, you can pick it up, you can read through all the poems. You can, if you resonate with, of course, like I said, I went right to the health one because that's what I was resonating with. And I
Right.
knew obviously I'd be speaking with you. And I just thought that I think anybody can go through this and will find certain things that they
Yes.
resonate with. So
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. Can you tell us how we can get this book?
Yes, ma'am. It is actually on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. You
Okay.
can order the book through those two ports.
Mhm.
I am also in the process of creating a website as well that will tell more about me, the book, and what's to come, so people will know what's the next chapter. So that will be published as well. So
Wow.
right now, they can get it in three versions: the paperback, the hardcover, and the what do you call it? The ebook.
Yes.
Yeah, and they can read it from their device. So it's available on both platforms on at both Barnes and Noble and Amazon.
That's great. Yeah. And again, it's entitled Whispers Through the Heart by William Carlos Byrd. And then also, Carlos, is there, if somebody wants to contact you that is listening, watching this YouTube video, how could they reach out to you if they had questions about men and prostate cancer or your journey or about your
Yeah.
poems?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, my email is wbyrd001 at gmail.com. And I read all my emails all the time. So
Okay.
that's the best way to contact. Um, I
That's
don't know
wonderful.
about phone numbers because there's so many spam numbers
Yeah,
that
no,
come
no,
through.
that's fine. No, email is wonderful. I really thank you for taking the time today and talking with me and bringing awareness to prostate cancer, to males who are scared to maybe go out and get that. I'm happy that you're an advocate. Keep on doing what you're doing, and I just wish you good health and a
Thank you.
beautiful life with your beautiful wife, Sheila. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for taking the time today, Carlos.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
All right. Well, have a good day, everybody.